All right, we are live.
Going on?
Cruz is here. I'm here. Obviously, you guys don't see me. So we're starting off the show. I titled the video 2021 POV, point of view, and I think it's kind of I think it's a good segue since where we are this week, and then on top of the fact that prior to uh, us starting this video on going live, Cruz and I were actually talking about exercising, and Cruz is on a pretty awesome routine. He's trying out some new stuff, and I think that might be good to just kind of share some of those tips and things that you've been working on, what your experience is with the exercises. But on top of that, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on this week, despite what the situation is. However, that's not going to stop us from traveling and things like that. And again, a lot of this stuff really has to we have to keep it in view, right, with what's going on, because ultimately anything that kind of happens, or there's a few things that happen politically that could affect what we're doing and what we're trying to
Yep.
aim for. So why
Yeah,
don't
absolutely. I mean, tomorrow's inauguration day, so we have new pres swearing in. Let's see what comes out. I mean, he's talking about, do we get a vaccine mandate? Do we get another stimulus? Do we get extended lockdowns? What's going to start happening? So those are all huge things that affect us for traveling. And then, of course, other countries will they'll take some cues from us. Of course, it's the United States, so that could affect stuff like we're watching for Colombia to open on February 28th. That's an important date there. So does that get changed? So a lot of stuff to be aware of coming up. Of course, it makes kind of getting out and going around right now a little difficult. So definitely making the best of being home, which we were talking about, is this is a great opportunity to just get back into you know the diet, working out, eating right. Because I mean, if you're out traveling around, backpacking, going off on adventures, whether it's scuba diving, doing hikes in other countries,
hmm
doing extended tour hikes in other countries, 4 or 5 day hikes. Um, Having your diet and being in reasonable shape, it just makes life easier. If you're out on that 4 or 5 day hike in Colombia on the Lost City Track, or you're hiking, 4 or 5 days across the Machu Picchu, it's a lot more enjoyable, if you're in a reasonable physical state overall. You can enjoy the moment a lot more rather than just, dying. Honestly, because some of those hikes there, I mean, specifically in Peru, you're hiking up a long time at 10 or 12,000 feet plus, up to over 14,000 feet. Um, Coming from sea level, that's high. If you haven't had a chance to acclimate, your body's not ready to acclimate quickly, it can be a little tough. Hiking in the jungles of Colombia is going to be hot. You're going to get dehydrated. How does your body react to it? Uh, Being able to really see and enjoy those things in other countries, yeah, you got to stay in a certain level of general physical fitness, so that way you can kind of make the most of your opportunities.
yeah, and
And
that's
that doesn't mean just being, like Instagram body skinny or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just being in the general good overall physical shape, as far as your endurance, your strength, your stamina. And that's not dependent on just body type. Everybody's different, but it is dependent on, putting in the effort and being able you're ready, making sure you're ready to go out there for certain activities.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the key things, right? That like hiking doesn't seem like it's an overly high impact kind of, I would consider it kind of sport. But the reality is, as you said, I mean, you do have to have some type of physical ability to be able to continue on, especially since one of the days, what we did, like 13 hours of hiking, and that's and
It was
sometimes
like
you
20 something kilometers. It was like 15 miles. It was over 13 hours. There was breaks, of course, and everything, but some of those inclines and everything, you were only covering maybe a mile an hour on some of those inclines, and those
Yeah,
inclines lasted for hours.
yeah, and that's one of those. It's one of those things, like you said. It's like you need to definitely be in some reasonable shape. And coming from sea level, it's tough to get acclimated to like starting at elevations that are very high, and we don't realize right away that those things can really affect um, the enjoyment, right? Because it's the elevation's so high and there's so much less oxygen to breathe in that um, when someone's not prepared for it, and obviously there's uh, coca leaves and things like that they have people chew on, have coca tea and whatever else, but that will only help for a moment in time where having, like I said, having some of that endurance in there and strength too, because it's not just a like a stroll on a flat surface, going up and down. Like afterwards, you feel like Superman because you're walking you know uh, on high elevations and it's dropping down. There's different surfaces that you have to kind of navigate through, and then afterwards it's like walking on flat surfaces just seems very easy.
Oh yeah, it's super rewarding. I'm hiking is like my favorite cardio exercise of anything. Like I love hiking as like a form of exercise. It's absolutely my favorite. Um, Running for me, it gets a little boring. I mean, walking incline on the walking incline on the treadmill to burn just to burn fat and not wear yourself out, super boring. Hiking, hiking is like absolutely the best. For me personally, you can really get, a couple, you're doing your workout during the week and you throw in an extra good 3 4 hour hike on the weekends. It's a great extra alternative. So get out there if you can. But yeah, no, point of view right now is where obviously we're talking about traveling, where the whole channel, the whole thing we're doing is going to be converting over to the traveling. I have some goals this upcoming weekend to get in there, get logged in, and start evaluating, talk to you about it, see about getting some things changed over, what we want to do. Start doing some at home videos about prepping and getting ready for travel right now, because right now being at home right now is the point of view. We're at
Mm,
home, waiting to see how stuff goes to get back out there, because right now our list of places, it's a little dicey as far as the ones that we want to get done, being able to get there and enjoy it. So it's a great time right now, rather than getting bummed out about that, is actually prepping for it. So
mm,
the extra working out, the extra, dieting and everything is just making it so that way I can enjoy the next adventures. Um,
mm.
going through evaluating my bag, seeing what I plan on taking, seeing if I can minimalize down some stuff, get some better gear, that's some better all around travel gear, whether it's just not just for hiking, but whether it's just better everyday t-shirts, you know, better different travel accessories. I got a better new travel bag that I'll be using. So just about taking this time to do that and slowly get rid of stuff, get rid of clutter around the house, just making the best of it. So that way, when it is time to go, you just pack the bag up, all set.
And I think it's a really good uh, point to, like, a lot of this preparation stuff is really about building that excitement and keeping that excitement going in kind of like the downtime portion of of like our day to day, because during our day to day we obviously have like routines that we have to follow, but if there's something like a month or 2 months down the road, we get that chance to, like, oh man, just build that anticipation, and then on top of that just being a little bit more well prepared when eventually arriving at a place, or being able to adjust very quickly if things kind of just change randomly as things progress, and that's kind of like the place that we're at. And I feel like that's one of the things, I think, why traveling is so much fun, and then especially something like hiking. I mean, when we were so Cruz and I went hiking to the Blue Hills reservation up in the kind of Dorchester, Canton Milton
Yeah,
area, just south
it's in
of
like
Boston.
outside of Boston, south of Boston area.
Yeah,
Not-
and he and I were talking just afterwards. We got complete like so we went through Blue Hills. We went somehow we ended up like on the other side of several roads and didn't even
no, we got lost.
we got lost.
Absolutely.
And you know, it was it was just really fun to to do the whole thing. But as we were finishing up the day, obviously a little bit tired, walking back. But it was one of those like, man, I feel great. My spirit feels good. Even though I'm tired, it's like, oh, I feel like we did a lot of stuff. There was really great views, kind of all
It
around
was.
if you get to the top of those hills that we have. So, but yeah, I think it's definitely key. It was, I was really excited when Cruz suggested it. He suggested it a few weeks ago, but I had a few things going on earlier in January, and then when we had the opportunity to go, we actually invited several friends, but Cruz and myself were the only ones who went, which was totally fine. I definitely would have been a burden, I think, to some of our friends, especially at the pace that we were going, because we clipped through what was it, the Highland? No, the Skyline path that's on
Yeah,
there,
quick skyline path.
and there's some pretty good you know elevations there, and you gotta be a little bit careful too. And I'll tell you what, that was a good workout, just climbing up and down those, and again with a
Yeah,
pace.
if you're going with kids, or you're not super into hiking, you're just getting out there. Check the maps. All right, go like
Yeah, we didn't check the maps.
check the maps beforehand. If you don't care, and like the general area, and there's no way you could get far enough away that you couldn't make it back in a good amount of time, it's kind of whatever. But if that's not the case, check the maps. Is really when you have a place with a ton of trails, because they have a ton of trails going through there, and I've never looked at a single map about which direction any of the trails went. Um,
Oh man.
you can get turned around, and then you get fatigued, and it's going to turn into misery. It might be going significantly farther than you planned on. So just, yeah, do that. If I was somewhere else, I would have like checked the maps. Like hiking out in Colorado, like I checked everything twice before I went out, because I was out there solo too. So I never would have done that without checking stuff.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, from what we planned on, we probably easily we were in the completely, when we thought we were going to be getting close to being back, we were completely in the exact wrong area, and tacked on easily an extra like 3 miles back across a couple summits. I mean, I hate to call them summits because they're kind of low compared to other stuff, but they're
Yeah.
the summits. They're the peaks there. There's some solid inclines. They just go up fast. They're just not forever. Yeah, we tacked on a ton of extra because we got lost. So yeah, if you're going out with your kids or something, definitely check the maps.
Yeah.
Or
Well, the good thing too, I think if people are going to go there with their kids and family members, the great thing is it's there's a lot of paths and there's a lot of places to go. But the great thing is, like, geographically, it's not that large, and at some point, because a lot of people kind of converge on the same, doing the same thing. There's a lot of families, there's a lot of people, on the weekends going out there hiking. I think it's going to be a lot safer, you know, for this type of hiking around here in New England, just because, one, you're not too far from the roads. Whether if someone just goes into the woods and starts hiking, if someone just walks straight across, followed that one pathway, they'd find a road. And that's one of the, I
yeah,
think it's one of the good
easily.
things. Yeah, it's one of the good things about that Blue Hills location, is that
But I
um,
mean, you get up to New Hampshire or Maine, and you get into some of like the state forests there that have a bunch of trails in them. Those state forests are actually pretty big.
yeah,
Like you can get buried in there deep enough, especially this time of year with the sun setting so early, like you could get buried in there deep enough that it's actually not great. Um, but Blue Hills, you'll always be fine. You'll eventually be able to figure a way out, hit a road, and honestly, you have cell service. Just call an Uber. You'll
yeah,
be all right.
yeah, exactly. Or if worst comes to worst, people can just dig a foxhole, stay overnight,
Yeah.
eat
Yeah. So
eat
like
squirrels.
I brought that. You didn't even bring anything because it was just a light hike. You just brought your little side pouch. I had a pack, but I only had my bare minimum stuff, quick little first aid kit, extra water and stuff like that. If it was somewhere we were going where we knew it was a little more remote, where it was actual like decent sized state forest and stuff, like I generally, for something like that, I would still bring a few extra things. Like I probably would have my tent and a bag in there just in case, just in case, worst case scenario.
Oh yeah, of course. Like I'd bring a multi-tool, some type of armament just in case there's coyotes or bears. You know what I mean? Like again, I don't think over the weekend at the Blue Hills, yeah, there's wildlife and there's probably a few coyotes or maybe a few wolves or anything like that. But I think with the number of people that go into that place and it's not so large a footprint of forest, it's not going to be as bad. I think
Yeah,
going to like New Hampshire or Vermont or Maine, the possibility of encountering a mountain lion is going to be much higher over there than it is, at least I'm just assuming this, down in this area. I mean, anything is possible, but I think just probability wise, there's just a little bit more risk involved. And, like you said, I would be preparing a little bit more. And actually, I forgot my multi tool, but I was like, it's Blue Hills.
yeah, it's
Should
fine there. But yeah, you always bring a few little extra things. Bring something. At least for me, I'll make sure I have my headlamp. Make sure I bring a little extra something to at least start some fire. And at a minimum, the tent I have is super light. It's a couple pounds. Throw that in there. That worst case scenario, at least you can like pop up some shelter if you had to. I mean, even if you were out there and it just being able to pop up shelter, if it just started absolutely torrential downpouring on you, is not the worst thing either.
Good point. Good point. So besides hiking, cruising myself exercise, but he's got a pretty good routine that he was explaining to me earlier, and I think it's good to kind of what's your routine so far for the week with exercise? What's your goal? You know,
So goal is just overall endurance, strength building, and honestly, just taking off those few extra pounds. They weren't really holiday weight; they were more travel, not working out as much for the majority of the fall time. Which you get back to just eating, enjoying yourself, and I had a blast. I had a great fall, great trip in Croatia. Not complaining. I'll take the few extra pounds for that. It's fine. But yeah, no, and it's not for any particular set like outside goal, health wise or anything. It's just particularly for me. Right now I'm stuck at home. We're gonna be going down, traveling. We're gonna be in some tropical areas, out swimming. I just set, not getting younger. I just set a particular mental goal in my head that I'm trying to get in as good a shape as I've been in a very, very long time. At least the past couple of years. So funny enough, like I told you over the week, like I have a picture of myself from, I actually checked the date on it. It was like, it was 2.5 years ago. It was July 16th, 2017. So I have the specific date because it was tagged on the photo.
yeah.
When I had been training for a while, really, really, really focused. And I have that picture of myself. So you're not out there, I'm not out there competing against other people, against what other people do or what other people look like. I'm competing against myself, my previous self, of knowing what I can achieve and what I can do. And I think that's really important for everybody. But right now it's fully on 5 days a week and trying to throw in an extra day, like hiking on the weekend or something else along those lines, whether it's a hike or maybe, I'm not running outside or anything too much. Maybe on a weekend, just going for an outdoor, nice, slow, steady, long run, just to get to that 6-day mark and have 1 day off. 5 days during the week, it's a combination of lifting and cardio, but switching up some of the lifting routines and stuff, really focusing on some areas that I haven't necessarily focused on before. There's some great information out there nowadays, stuff that I wish was out there when I was a bit younger. a lot of the knowledge about training different things. Absolutely. I wish I knew about some of the stuff when I was younger. Like we were talking about Athlean X, guy's unbelievable. Jeff Cavalieri does an amazing, amazing job talking about things. I've been watching a lot of his videos just to train some of the off little areas of the body that maybe you would have neglected before, didn't really do, and switching up with just some other exercises and everything. Learn a lot from him. He's very he does a really good job, and he puts out amazing YouTube videos, really detailing everything. Short clips too. I think the longest clip is 15 minutes. They range from like 7 to 15 minutes. Real quick to digest. I love them. They're awesome.
Yeah, you know what the thing is too with a lot of his videos when he's doing the training stuff, he goes into in detail about what it's affecting, the appropriate way to do the exercises, and what type of results that can be had. And then also he just has a large assortment of different videos about different types of exercises, how to do things safely. I think yeah, it was funny because Cruz and I trained a lot when we lived together. It was one of those things where you know when because we grow up, we have a certain method of training. We've trained with a lot of different people. We've done our own research, but it would have been nice too to be able to get another set of knowledge that was out there. Like right now, I mean, with YouTube, it's really enabled a lot of people to be able to um, research a lot of different ways. I think he's probably one of the biggest YouTubers out there as far as with like health and exercise and things like that. And he's in great shape, like phenomenal shape.
He's got let's see. I mean, he's got, I have him up right now, 11.1 million subscribers. That's
a lot
for a health and for like a hardcore health and fitness that doesn't like, he's he's a guy. He's not like a female influencer who looks amazing and may get a ton more subscribers of people that necessarily aren't there to actually work out, that are just there, to kind of gawk at the female because she looks amazing. She's put in a ton of work. She's beautiful, which gets him a ton more followers. For him, he really is like focused on like working out. Like it's no extra fluff about other stuff. He's not pulling in viewers or subscribers that aren't like focused on training, like really focused on training and learning. Like he's very, very niche in his dedication on what he is pushing. He doesn't broaden it out. So for him to be pumping out 11.1 million subscribers in that of a focused area for that, that's pretty big.
Yeah, actually, there's nothing too. He has. I can't remember the guy that trains with him, who does like holds the camera for him and stuff like that. But that guy, when he first started, was really thin, and then as like over the course of the years, you could actually see him just the muscle definition started filling in.
I just watched one of his videos about that. Yeah, he's put on, over the past couple years training with him, he's put on about 20 or 25 pounds of like lean muscle. Like he was skinny.
Yeah.
He's not like a huge guy now, but he's probably about my, around our height. He seems like maybe around that 5'10", 5'11" or so mark. Yep. He was probably skinny fat at like 150, right?
Yeah.
And it looks like he's probably weighing in around like a solid muscle of like in like 160 mark or so now at that height. Like he's in good shape now.
Yeah. So it's one of those, and the key pointer too that he was talking about, or that he talks about, is like is being patient, right? And making sure to do the exercise correctly, making sure that targeting the correct muscle groups and stuff like that. So those, again, a lot of details that he provides in his videos, and solid tips. I mean, I'll admit, I was one of the subscribers too when I first caught wind of, wow, these are good videos.
Yeah, it is super important. Like if you just getting back into it or whatever, it's super important to be patient. Like I started, my routine a little bit ago, but my set start serious date was a little over a week ago or so. And, you're like, oh, you're looking in the mirror and you're like, oh, this week doesn't look like it did very much. Looks like but you just can't think like that. But everybody does. I do it myself. You know, you're like, oh, why didn't this just magically change? Like, I haven't been eating any junk. My diet's been awesome. It's only been for a week.
Well, here's the other thing too, though. So, like for you and I can kind of, we were talking about this when we were hiking, is that despite that we're not going super hardcore training all day every day, that we have those moments where we're that we have a set goal that we're planning. And like I was telling you, like my routine is like I don't have like very very finite goals right now, but I haven't stopped exercising. I don't exercise a lot, but like the same thing for you. Like you never let yourself get too far on one end where it's like the huge muffin top and things like that. There's always like some maintenance even in the down. I guess you could say the down season, right?
Yeah.
With with exercise, and I think that's one of the things that people misplace with like you go out, you're talking about doing all this training and things like that, but people don't know that you've been training consistently for God knows how long. And
Yeah. I mean, I'm coming from probably a different base fitness level than somebody that's been off for a long time, years, or really hasn't trained a lot, of course. And I understand that, but the mentality is still the same. It's the mentality is still the same about, you want to see the fast results and everything because, you want to see the goals, but it's a long-term one. Like I'm not going to really reevaluate what I have set up for like my meal plans and my particular workouts for until I'm about 4 to 6 weeks in. Once I'm about 4 to 6 weeks in, I'll assess and say, well, how effective has this been? What am I looking at? What are my new gains? What's the BMI at? Where am I sitting? And then change and adjust from there. Maybe you got to go up a little more on cardio. Maybe I need a few more calories. I'm dropping, but I'm losing a ton of strength, more strength than I want to be. But you can't judge it on just that 1 week. So about 4 to 6 weeks out, I'll give a reevaluation on each one of those blocks. But the ultimate stretch now for this one is going to be about 12 to 14 weeks, which kind of lines up basically when we plan on heading out.
Now, is there anything specific when you're exercising, when you're in this like I said, this 12 sounds like a close to 12 week program that you've placed for yourself? Are there any specific things that you're eating? Is there certain times of the day that you're eating? How are you regulating the eating portion of this routine?
Yeah, a lot of people do the real short eating cycle is real popular now. I only eat in a 6-hour window, and that's it. That doesn't quite work for me. It means I would have to start eating really a little later than I like because of work, and then when I train as well as later. So I don't eat. The big things is I'm trying not to eat super late. I'm not trying not to eat, at that 10 o'clock at night. Trying to make sure I'm usually starting to eat around like maybe 10 in the morning and done eating with everything by like 8 o'clock at night. I go to bed a little bit later. So it's not like I'm eating right up against bed. There's still about probably a 4-hour window after that. Been trying to have my like light dinner actually before I'm working out, and then after the workout, which happens somewhere in the 6 to 7 to 9 range, just having a shake after that as something to finish me off for the day. Really cutting out like no gluten, really trimming back almost no dairy at all. Maybe a little bit of feta cheese or something in the salad just for a little bit of flavor, but almost no dairy. Morning time, couple hard-boiled eggs, little handful of almonds, something light, low on the glycemic index so it doesn't spike you up too much when you first break it. So just a couple hard-boiled eggs for that. I would hold off a little bit longer, but I actually been taking a bunch of vitamins, so you need to take something with them. I don't want to just have those just hit my stomach without anything, so I'll start with that. Lunch is
Yeah.
salad and The main, the main like dinner or meal is going to be some type of light protein, a little bit of sweet potato, and then a couple various vegetables, whatever it is, broccoli, cauliflower, um, Brussels sprouts, something along those lines.
Mm.
And that's about it. Pretty mundane for that stuff. And then I told you what my cheat meal is.
Yeah.
My cheat meal right now on the weekend will be like a vegetable, a little light on the starch for the just a little bit of sweet potato or something, and a steak. That's the cheat meal. Nice like ribeye or something.
Mm.
Um,
One of the best
so
cuts
it's not
too.
it's a boost up in the calories, of course. So try and account for it.
Yeah.
But it's all right. Keep a real nice like deficit real nice during the week. And then even with that extra boost with the ribeye and everything, like probably only hitting like that maintenance level of calories. But it's a great, nice, enjoyable meal. So that helps keeps me pretty on Wayne for that one.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's not so. It doesn't seem heavily restrictive. I mean, the only thing that I would find restrictive for myself is cutting out the gluten because I
I know
love
you love your bread.
I
I
love
know
my
you
bread.
love it. I do too.
Yeah,
I love bagels. Bagel in the morning or some bread. Oh God. Or even like just like I love burgers. Like I know you can get, a gluten-free, but if I'm having a burger, like I want a burger. Um, but yeah, no, nothing for right now, which is fine. Um,
now, are you doing
I want
any
to.
before and after pictures or videos? Maybe that might be something to post.
No, not at all. Actually, I thought about it. I thought about doing a picture every week, like Sunday. Like you take a picture every Sunday, like Sunday, 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 whether it and specifically probably like, in the morning, not after I like have my ribeye dinner and then take a picture. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, just to see where you're at and everything, which is good motivation. You can look back and see where you went.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to find, around here specifically, stuff's still pretty locked up. You got to find other stuff to do, find other goals, find other things that you can focus on. I keep meaning to start my Babbel subscription. I have a Babbel subscription to learn languages. I really need to start taking some time out of my day and doing that too.
No, honestly, man, like if you stay in Colombia for like 3 months, you'll leave there with a lot of Spanish. Like,
Well, it's going to be Colombia and then Ecuador and then somewhere after that, probably Spanish speaking because South America time.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it'll probably be significantly improved from then.
yeah. And well, the thing is, I would imagine that some of these places in Colombia is going to be exactly like Ecuador, where there's going to be a good amount of expats in the country. However, I think there's just going to be a lot of people that don't speak English, and it's just
Oh
gonna
yeah,
there's going to be no choice but to
there'll be some
just
areas there'll be some areas and some stretches where it's basically just Spanish,
yeah,
like
and
just will.
that's literally going to be the best way to just pick it up really fast because I did I mean I read a Spanish book, I watched Spanish movies, I did Duolingo, and then the minute I showed up to Ecuador on day one, and the the person's house that I say is Diana, but her uncle picked me up at the airport. Guy didn't speak English at all, and my head was spinning. Like I was trying so hard to focus, and it just wasn't happening. And I was like, oh
Yeah,
wow, like I gotta really practice. And I thought I had it in the bag too. I was like, oh man, I mean, this was like 3 months in advance. I was like religiously practicing, and then arrived, and I was like, I don't know what this guy just said. Get back to the
gets
drawing board.
gets way different quick, right?
Yeah, it's well, it's when we were in Peru. I mean, when we're talking with people just live and not, it's like, oh, pause the video. Oh, what was that thing what was that word for this? It's not like that when you're communicating with someone. real time, it's like you have to everything has to be translated, and then you have to respond, and it's
Yeah, the speed of it's the issue.
yeah, and but a lot of it too is just like getting used to the routine stuff that people say, because um like for example, extranjero is foreigner, extraño is like I miss you, right?
Yeah.
And when I first got back to the US, you know, I was talking with Sophia, and we're like, "Oh, yo extraño." And then my brother-in-law is like, "Oh, she said foreigner." And I start laughing. I go, "No, she said I missed you." But it's because we don't hear the routine of how words are said, so we misplace the translation, which is totally okay. And it's one
And
of those
being
things.
like, and also just understanding a little more and just being in like the context of what's being said, like
Yeah.
being actually in the context, like that like that's not what she said.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the thing is too, like as a secondary language, it's it's like we never really fully understand the language because of you know what I mean. There's just kind of certain aspects that are it becomes normal from growing up with talking. Like oh, if someone grows up in America, there's just certain things that we say. Stuff that's more obvious, like oh, we say wicked in New England, and it's kind of the same thing, in
Yeah, you
in
be
Ecuador.
ingrained there for a while
Yeah,
for you to reach that level. Like you'll get to like a really great level, but then that just like knowing everything, that's tough to recreate, right?
yeah, and I mean, even to this day, I'll admit it. Like sometimes, you know, s- I'll be talking to Sophia or her family or friends, and I'm just what? I just I just lose track of a few things because it's like a different set of focus because I already got used to, and I still stumble along the way, talking with Sophia, but the way she says stuff, like I picked up on, but the way other people um, talk can be different because actually, because there's a lot of Colombians in Ecuador, and
Yeah.
the Spanish is just different. It's just it sounds different, and I'm like, oh, that person sounds like they might be from Colombia or Venezuela. It's a completely different style of how they say stuff, and there's different contexts that I just like you and I can pick up on. Oh, somebody might be from the Midwest, somebody might be from the South, and I was, this is something that always comes up when I'm talking with Spanish speakers, and I'm like, oh yeah, like if you listen to someone from the South, they just sound completely different when they're saying
Oh,
stuff, and you can pick up on it, and they go, really? I'm like, yeah, it's very distinct, you
oh
know.
yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same for that. I mean, once you put it in context, it's like, oh, Colombia versus
yeah,
Ecuador, and same exact thing.
yeah,
But now that's gonna be a great time. But yeah, right now we got inauguration tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. See what occurs directly after. I mean, there's talks that a lot of stuff's going to be put forward like immediately. Day one. Um, so once it's sworn in, we have the rest of this week with stuff in session for different orders and everything. So Wednesday will happen, and we'll see what goes on Thursday and Friday, and see where we're going from there. Just mainly worried about seeing what's going to happen
mm,
for us being able to travel. Of course, everything else going on with anybody, whether they're trying to open their business or make ends meet or whatever their scenario. Everybody else's scenario is, of course, different, and they have their different, uh, not just different views, but they have their different priorities. Is probably the better way to describe it.
mm,
Everybody else's priorities on what they want is different. Like, knock on wood, I'm doing all right. I'm doing great. And my main priorities right now might be a little self-serving, but they're focused on finding out what's going to happen with restrictions and vaccine for different reasons, maybe than other people. But so we can start planning, because nothing is going to be more exciting than actually getting that like flight ticket date booked. Like, yep, this is the
mm.
day that we're flying out. once that's on the books, it's, I don't know, you get a little rush. You're ready to go.
Yeah, I think the part, I speak for myself, but I'm sure you feel the same way. It's like we're we're kind of just annoyed with this whole suspense thing, and we just want, whatever. There's so many things that are just beyond our control, right? So a lot of it now is just, we're really, for me, I'm frustrated with just, all right, what's gonna happen next, so I can just go on with my life and carry on,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's really just starting to get annoying, and obviously I'm being a little bit more paranoid about what's gonna happen, but at least as things progress for this week, I'll have a better idea about, how to approach stuff as we move forward, because again, there's still stuff up in the air. There's all the weird theories and stuff that's going on. We obviously, like, we're anticipating what's gonna happen. We already know, okay, tomorrow's the inauguration, but there's weird stuff happening. So we're still trying to be as obviously as cautious as possible, be safe for other people. But this suspense of the unknown is really just really, you know just kind of putting a damper on everything, because
frustrating.
yeah, like it's all about, it's like, why don't we just, once it's all figured out, we can just move on and just do what we got to do. But there is a little bit of a holdup because of what's happening this week. That's
Of course.
you know
Well, I think, I mean, obviously, like we're saying, this was like a big stretch and obviously a huge date. Because once we pass inauguration and we're going to get a feel for which kind of direction, what's going on, where we're headed with different things. It's a huge date. And then some of the other dates, like we talked about before, with other countries that are independent of anything going on here, because it's other countries' decisions on how they want to operate and do. Want to pay attention to those as well. But yeah, I'm just ready. I'm just ready to. I just want to know what's going on so we can plan and get this squared away. Um, I'm
oh
ready to
yeah,
go. I'm
yeah,
ready
yeah.
to go.
Well, like last week, or actually a couple of weeks ago, I was asking you about going out to Florida. Unfortunately, there's too many things to do prior, at least for me,
Too
prior to getting
short.
out there.
Just everything crazy. Yeah.
Um, Finally got a hold of the consulate today.
Holy cow.
Yeah, yeah. Get this. I contacted them through Facebook. I contacted them through email. I emailed them twice today, and I called two different numbers. Like, I need some guidance, and I, I was a little bit uh, I wasn't as I was a little bit more assertive this time.
A little testy with them. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm cutting down to the wire, and like I said, I was trying to set up something to try to go to Florida. But it was like, this was one of the biggest holdups. I don't get my visa. It's like, you know, I have 10 days. I have 10 to 13 days to get a visa in Ecuador, but the possibility of not having the paperwork needed, is gonna be a huge barrier. So it's like,
Oh, for
no,
sure.
I need to get all this stuff done today, because I was told one thing from the last time I was there, but it looks like I have to go through the same process all over again, which I don't think that I need to, but we'll see. They're like, "Oh, you need to fill out an application." Well, you guys already have a copy of, you already have a record. I mean, why do I need to? I was told that I just need to, pay for the visa and then call it a day. There needs to be an appointment. So anyone, just being realistic here. If anyone is looking to have an extended stay in Ecuador, and this will probably apply to other countries. But one of the things that I needed to do was get the application, obviously have a copy of my passport, fill out the application with the passport picture, and get a criminal record notarized, and including a what was it? And the one last thing is having proof of proof of income was one of the things. So like a bank statement, and so it's not a normal notary for the criminal records, the Cory checks. They need to be translated, but they also need to be notarized in a method called the apostille. And to me, it's just a fancier way of saying that the that the person who signs off on the query check is the person that signed it. So it's just a more, it just validates that the document is from the the person, like my name is there, and the person who
Yeah.
signed off on it is the correct person. And it's done actually in a very fancy way where they put a nice little bow and you know pack it all. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, the formalities, but man, is it a pain in the ass. So you have to go to the Secretary of State office. Not There's several different ones. The one I'm going to is on Main Street in Fall River, and it costs $6 to get that apostille. So again, if people are planning to stay long term, past the non-visa time frame, if someone's out there looking to stay longer, this is the stuff that I'm dealing with right now with extending my stay in Ecuador, because I've already stayed there for 2 months, where you have 90 days without a visa. So it's still pretty good. But so just be on the lookout for that. Anyone out there who's watching, that's something to consider when staying for an extended period of time.
Yeah, but a little bit of a hassle and everything, but you can get extended up to a total of 6 months being
Yeah,
there. So
yeah,
that's pretty good without any type of like permanent visa or anything to be able to stay for 6 months. That's not bad.
yeah. It's. I wish it was longer, like Peru. Peru has was it 180 days non-visa for U.S. citizens. And
Oh,
then
180, no questions, just
yeah,
regular tourist visa.
yeah, and then if you get a visa, it's like an additional 90 days. It's pretty much it's
Oh, so
yeah. So you
stay
get
there basically the whole year.
yeah. So I almost stayed there. I almost stayed long in Peru just because. Oh, actually, I'm even still considering it because I like it.
I
But I
like
would
Peru.
but I would definitely stay in Cusco because Cusco, just the mountains. Something about the mountains.
I would absolutely stay in Cusco, 100%. That would be where I would stay.
You know what's cool too? It's high elevation, right? The elevation changes with all the roads and stuff very quickly. So like just touring around the city, just walking all over the place is like the hike for the day. You get like a
Oh, so
phenomenal.
there's some ups and downs. It's actually a little bit of a workout getting around the city
Yeah,
because it's on the slopes.
yeah,
So it's at a high elevation on the slopes of the mountains in a valley there. So um, that city's beautiful. I would definitely stay there for a fair bit longer. There's
yeah.
a couple other things to see there that I wanted to see too, like the Nazca lines.
Mm,
Best like when you actually like fly over them and everything. UN did that Oasis town. There's some great hikes in northern Peru
mm.
that are supposed to be gorgeous. Um, there's I'm not going to pronounce them right, but it's lakes. Hold on. Lake Titicaca, which has some of the native tribes there and everything. That's supposed to be amazing to go and see. I believe you can do some Amazon stretches in Peru. Am I wrong?
I think on the other side of the.
On the other side, because once you're up there, you're at Machu Picchu, you're at Cusco. I think you can still head over farther east and do some Amazon in Peru still.
Yeah.
They had some great excursions for going out there. I think a couple of people, I think Imka and her friend, I think they went over there
Right,
afterwards.
that's right. They did because they continued on. There was a lot of people that continued.
Yeah, they stayed in some of the national reserves over there. You just stay in, you got the mosquito tents and everything, just out there. That's actually that getting out on the Amazon sounds amazing. I would never. You ever hear about the people going out and doing, like the full paddle along the Amazon and everything? I don't know if I want to be on the Amazon for that long. One, I generally actually still have to work. I can't just go paddle the Amazon currently for like 2 months as spoken. But for a good stretch, maybe do a 5-6 days or a week so out in the Amazon just to get to enjoy it. That would be awesome.
Yeah, and received a message from Sofia. Que sigan cosechando éxitos chicos, saludos desde Ecuador. So basically, uh, may we achieve more success and greetings from Ecuador.
Thank
Gracias.
you. Sophia. Thank you, Sophia. I will see you soon. I will see you soon.
Yeah, we were just as we were talking about. So one of the things that Cruz and I talked about over the weekend is since Cruz is going to be heading down to Ecuador, and get this, for people that are watching, my mother is planning to come out to Ecuador. Actually, it's all going to be kind of the same time. So I spoke with Sophia about getting flights set up for Galapagos, and I think it's
You,
a great
you haven't
time.
gone to Ecuador a lot. You haven't gone yet. I do plan on spending a couple weeks on the Galapagos. Like 2 weeks is like I have to be there for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think, like I said, uh, we're trying to get that stuff squared away, obviously sooner rather than later. And again, part of this whole week has just been, oh, we can't really solidify those plans as easy because this week is
Thank
just
you.
like,
He was like, "Oh, we can do it during this stretch here." Like, all right, we'll definitely be in country then. We'll plan around that. No big deal. But like, I can't even be like, "Yep, definitely," because it's just too much stuff up in the air right now. So it's really tough to plan ahead right now.
yeah. And
Um,
you know what? I'm actually glad that I didn't go or I didn't set up going to the Galapagos by myself, because when I went to Ecuador, I went there by myself, and it's nice to, like, oh cool, I kind of, I put it off to the side because I wanted to do it with other people, and now it's like, oh, the opportunity to have Cruz and my mother and possibly some other people, if you guys are down, who's watching, to
my other, like I said, my other buddy Pat should be with us. He should be out there too.
yeah, so this it's going to be a good time, and I'm really excited about it. And with Cruz, at some point going to be learning, get his SUBA certifications, and then obviously just hanging out at the beach and doing whatever in the Galapagos. I think
We
it's
got
gonna
the
be really
scuba,
cool.
we got a crew, we got the GoPro. We'll be filming up a lot of content.
Yeah.
Um,
And Sophia just mentioned, Eric. When you come over, get to know Ecuador, and the next vacation, um, that you'll get to know and like her country. So that might
I
be
think I will.
that might be a very bad translation there, but yeah, I
Ready,
think,
ready for a little ceviche.
yeah. Oh man, the shrimp ceviche is so good, and on top of I'm having a brain fire of that dish that I like eating, but whatever, you'll see. And, I think I think I think you're gonna agree when you get to eat the bread and the stuff that I was talking about, because then it's not like, again, it's not
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, I was
For
just,
everybody, there's no like when we're traveling, like the dieting and the extra restrictions. Like I'll try and be good or better, but when you're out traveling, like you eat the stuff. Like I'm gonna be enjoying the bread. Like there's that when you first get to a place, there's that little honeymoon stretch for the first 2 weeks where you just say, "Let's enjoy it, enjoy yourself, live life," and then dial it back a little bit. So like you definitely just go and do what you want to do when you first get there, for sure.
yeah. And keep in mind, for the people that are watching, we actually did exercise regularly, even with all the walking and hiking. We obviously, during the long hikes, we didn't exercise, but during the times when we were in Lima, or there was some downtime, we'd bang out some push-ups, do some pull-ups, and then that was, we just kept it going. Um, and I'm just gonna say something in Spanish because Sophia's watching
Of
from
course.
Ecuador.
Yeah, I get it.
Eric dice muchas gracias para el mensaje, y también, después, en la próxima vez, Eric gustar conozca de. So I just said that when you go there, you're gonna like it and know about it. Again, I'm even doing a bad translation of what I just said.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. It's exciting, but yeah, no, we got tomorrow. We'll see how stuff goes, and then from there move on and start the planning.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm over this week already with with all this
Oh
all the shenanigans. Like, All right.
Absolutely. I can't listen to anymore, hear anymore, talk about it anymore. I just can't. I can't do it. I don't know how people that are just still going on and on about stuff like just relax. Just you gotta just take a minute, let it play out, see how stuff goes,
Yeah. This
and
again.
enjoy your life.
Yeah. We're not politicians, and I think the best thing I think and this is my opinion. I think it's because we obviously have our views, right? We have our perspectives, and maybe that'll help other people consider, some of these ideas as well. But I think the most important thing is that we're providing our view of how we're experiencing things, and with that enables other people to maybe consider, that some of the things that we're talking about was going to be helpful for them, with whatever decisions they're making. How, like, maintaining happiness, you know, health ideas. It's yeah. Obviously, we're going to go out there. I mean, every time I go back to Ecuador, I'm pretty much eating everything that's over there, especially many nights. I mean, almost 3 or 4 nights a week. Sophia comes back with a bag of bread. It's like the minute she comes in with a
Oh, those
bag of bread.
plantain chips. Can't wait.
Oh man, having that with the ceviche, so good,
Can't wait.
so good. Um, I brought extra bags when I got back. When I got back in December, I brought back extra bags, and I had it. I intended to give you one, but I ended up
You
eating,
ate it?
and I ate.
You ate the bag of plantain chips that you brought for us? What? It's
It.
ridiculous.
Well, I didn't see you for a while. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm kind of hungry. I'm gonna eat the
All
plantain chips.
right, I would have eaten them too. Not gonna lie, I wouldn't.
No, when we head out to South America, there's gonna be so much plantain chips that you know you're gonna run out of space in your stomach. But you're never
Yeah,
get. It's one of those snacks that I never get bored of eating.
no, no, they're so good.
Yeah,
So we got to we got to talk about. I don't know. I need some advices on how to, because I want to do that one bag thing on how to film that. How do we think we want to film that and stuff? Like, what do you think is the best setup?
just set up the
Just like film
camera.
it, just set it up, get the angle right, do it from a couple different clips, quick talk, and then the set about it.
I would say if you don't want to deal with the camera, try to prop it really high and have all your stuff like looking down at all the stuff, like all the stuff that you're bringing and then packing, and then
Yeah,
you can do it in one take, and then like it's much easier to edit that way. Because if you're always trying to move the camera with your hand, it's much tougher to manage that than it is to just have a still shot. And as long as it's a good wide view, it's I think it'll be a lot easier. One, production wise. Two, um, because the type of camera, it's gonna have a nice wider angle. I think it'll be easier just for people to see what you're doing that way.
yeah, I'm gonna get the shot of that. Gonna get like, talk about it, lay the stuff out, do a shot of like, this is what I'm bringing. It'll actually be for like, one bag for going to a more temperate climate. Because of course, if you're going somewhere cold, it's completely different.
Oh yeah.
You can get in that, real wide range with one bag, but the second not even once you get to the hot weather is easier. Like shorts and t-shirts. So you can get that temperate up to hot weather pretty easy. But if you start getting into a trip where you're going to be in like some cold climates, some real cold weather, yeah, that starts getting to be a little different. So the one, it's definitely going to be like a temperate climate, temperate to mid, that like 40 degrees all the way up to sunny, hot, whatever you want, style. But below that, if you're consistently like the 30s, the 20s, or anything like that, you got to have some different. You got to have some different stuff.
Yeah. So we're coming to the close of the video, and I think there was a lot of things that we talked about there. Obviously, this particular episode, again, I titled it 2021 POV, and again, it's what's good is it's a new year. There's a lot of exciting stuff that Cruz and I have planned out, and obviously, Cruz. This is going to be one of the longest of Cruz's really long stretch of being out on the road. So that in itself will be very interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna definitely, yeah. The last one felt like a long time. This next one that's gonna end up being it's gonna feel like a really long time. It's gonna be a while. So I'm
Yeah,
excited.
yeah, I'm excited to get out there and join him as well because, like I said, I'm going to be traveling as well, going back and forth in Ecuador, and I think there's a lot of adventures that we got lined up. We're just going to get through this week, and I think the floodgates will open up for us. And
Just let me
then
know what's going on. That's all.
yeah,
I just tell me.
that's
I don't care. Just tell me so I can plan. That's all.
yeah. So with that being said, uh, for everyone that joined in the video, thank you very much. Tune in next week. Apologize also that we skipped out on Monday and moved it to Tuesday, but Cruz had to visit one of our buddies, and I thought just made sense to me. That was it was Martin Luther King's Day yesterday. It was nice
Yeah.
that Cruz could do that, especially since it's so difficult to catch up with friends.
Just with life, with everything right now, when you actually get a chance to get together and go and see somebody, like
Yeah,
don't make excuses. Don't make excuses. Go hang out with them. Go see them if you can, because you don't know when the next chance may be. You really don't.
yeah.
So,
Any last words? That sounds really bad. Any closing statements?
closing statements? Yeah, actually, just that. Yeah, don't. If you get a chance to see people, people get busy. Everything going on. Everything's crazy right now. Completely understand. But if you do get a chance to see somebody, talk with somebody or everything, just make sure you take that opportunity because it's too easy to drift apart, get separated, let other, foolish crap come between you. And it's really